Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, we are reading Krampus Meets His Match. You know who wrote this book?
Who?
Me. All right. Let me scooch it. Ready? Ooh. Night had fallen, and not just any night, but his night. At last, Krampusnacht. Krampus checked his list of naughty children, checked it twice, tapped a claw on the first name, Sandra. Bullying her classmates at school brought her to the top of the list. At Sandra's house, most everyone slept. No one saw the front door creep open and Krampus step out of the blackness. No one, that is, except Sandra's little sister, Susie. Fluffy! She yelled. Delighted at the sight of the monster, she ran over to Krampus and threw her arms around his leg, squeezing it tight. Appalled by her affection, Krampus shook his leg, but Susie held tight. He rattled his grimy chains and growled his deep, rumbling growl, but Susie held on tight. In fact, she giggled and growled right back at him. You see? Susie's hugging him. Thinking fast, Krampus scooped up Susie and tossed her into his dark, smelly basket. But Susie popped right back out of the basket and gave him a big hug, rubbing her little nose against his wicked horns and tattered fur. Fluffy! She shouted again. Krampus was in shock. No child had ever done that before. He quickly took Susie out of the basket in hopes she'd run away. Does she look sad and scared?
No.
No. She looks happy, huh? She thinks he's soft and fluffy. Then, aber schade. Susie grabbed his hand and dragged him up the stairs to the playroom. With mounting horror, Krampus saw that everything was set up for a tea party. Sit, Susie commanded, and Krampus sat gingerly next to a teddy bear who eyed him blankly with faint disapproval. Susie draped a feather boa around his neck and handed him a tiny teacup, which rattled and clanked in his big claws, and Krampus took a big serping slip. Can you see his little teacup? It's just silly, Krampus having tea. His dark mind ran through his options as he sipped and sipped and sipped the imaginary tea. Susie plopped down beside him with her own cup. She let out a big yawn, and that gave Krampus an idea. He put a big hairy arm around Susie, picked her up, and began to hum softly. A raspy, wheezy hum. He started to rock gently, and between the soft wheezing sound of Krampus humming Metallica's Enter Sandman, the gentle motions, Susie soon fell asleep. Just then, Sandra walked in, wakened by the commotion, marched into the playroom and saw Krampus, and her eyes widened with fear. Sandra's mouth moved, but no sound came out. Krampus put a long, curved, cruel claw around his mouth and goes, shh. Sandra said, and Krampus made a zip motion with his claw. Krampus, no! Don't take Susie! She's just a baby! Sandra cried. Take me instead, Sandra whispered, as Susie stretched and yawned in the crook of the monster's arms. I promise I'll be nicer at school. I won't be bad to my sister, Sandra sobbed. She's scared, huh? Oh, look, he's scared. Krampus stared at Sandra with his moon-glow eyes. Down the hall he heard a thump, thump, thump as Sandra and Susie's father got out of bed. Krampus bent down and stared even more intensely at Sandra, who was now quivering in fear. Krampus gently tucked Susie into bed and turned back to Sandra, reaching into his basket as she cringed. But all he did was hand her a bundle of dirty old sticks. Immediately, Sandra knew she wouldn't be getting any fruit or candies from St. Nicolaus this year. Krampus headed towards the door, knowing his job was done. Sandra was going to be nicer to her classmates at school from now on. Krampus left the house with a slight smirk on his face. Perhaps he would return the following year. Perhaps Sandra would keep her promise as he ventured to his next destination to scare other wicked children, with a few lingering pink feathers in his fur. The end.
This one.
Well, did you like this book?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who's this guy?
Krampus.
Yeah, and he only comes if you're bad, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to be bad, right? You're going to be good? And brush your teeth? And be nice to your brother?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you're right. How about a kiss for your brother?
Mwah.
Mwah.